Good morning, students. Welcome to online session of Social Sciences. In previous class, we have studied that there are two kinds of forces, endogenic forces and exogenic forces. So in previous class, I have explained endogenic forces, that is internal forces are known as endogenic forces. Then we have studied there are two types of endogenic forces, sudden forces and geostrophic forces. In that we have studied volcano and earthquake. In today's class, I am going to explain exogenic forces. Now these forces act on the surface of the earth and are both erosional and depositional in nature. Means from word we can understand as it is exogenic, it means external force at work on the surface of earth, and this force includes two kinds of processes. First is erosion and second is deposition. Disintegrated rock materials is generated from solid rocks through a process of weathering. Now disintegrated rocks means break up into small part as a result of any impact. So there in disintegrated rocks are there and they are generated from solid rocks through the process of weathering. Now what do you mean by weathering? Weathering means when all the process that break rocks into smaller particles. Now this weathering can be observed anywhere, anytime. You might have seen the walls or roof of your house that may be rough or cracked. So what is the reason behind that? The reason is weathering only. And you might have seen any mud wall of any hut may be worn or scuffed. Worn means that is a past tense of wear, which means damage something by continuously rubbing. If you will continuously rub anything, that will be worn. And scuffed. Scuff means that to make a mark on the surface of something by scraping it against something rough. Down we are having one diagram. Here you can see one diagram. This is weathering and erosion, the changing phase of the earth. Here you can see here this part here it is showing like here rock is there, and because of that weathering that rock is converting into small particles, and after that converting into particles they will be eroded like this. This here it is erosion. So the small particles that will be eroded, and after erosion that will be deposited here like this. So we are having three processes here. First is weathering here, then erosion, second one, then third is deposition. Now when the disintegrated rock debris is carried from one place to another by winds, running water or glacier, it is called erosion. Now after facing this weathering, that rocks they have converted into disintegrated rock or debris. Debris means the remains of anything broken down. So we are having that rock debris that will be carried from one place to another place, and there are three modes of that transportation. First is winds, second running water, third is glacier, and it is called, all these modes are called erosion. The process of erosion involves the continuous wearing away of the land surface but does not include weathering of rocks. So here we are having two terms, weathering and erosion. Both are different. Now what it is saying, the process of erosion involves continuous wearing of the land surface. Means when there is continuous wearing away of land surface because of wind, running water or glacier, that will come under erosion. But if any weathering of rock is there, that will not be come under erosion. So there is a difference between weathering and erosion. Now, rate of weathering and erosion. Rate means speed, you can say. The factors responsible for weathering and erosion work at different speeds. So, the rate of weathering and erosion, or the speed of weathering or erosion, that is depending upon some factors, and these factors are are responsible, or the reason behind the erosion at different speed. The factors influencing weathering are, there are 5 factors. First is temperature and rainfall. Next, vegetation cover. Third, change in land use. Fourth, type of soil. Fifth, slope of land. So how these all factors can influence the weathering? See, for the first point we will discuss, that is temperature and rainfall. As the temperature will be high, then what will happen? Yes, that soil will be easily eroded. And if rainfall will be there, if heavy rainfall is there, then soil will be easily eroded. If there is less rainfall, then erosion of soil is less. Then vegetation cover. Vegetation here means that plants and trees on particular land. If that vegetation is cover in a large manner or highly cover, then erosion will be less. And that vegetation is not covered fully, if that land it is not having that plants, trees or grass, that in that time what will happen, that soil can be easily eroded. Third, change in land use. Means earlier that particular land was used for agriculture, and later it will be started for building purpose or for making any kind of construction there, then it will be easily eroded. Next is type of soil. Different types of soil we are having, so that is depending upon the type of soil. If that soil is dry, then erosion will be easily and the soil will be easily eroded. Next, slope of land. When that land slope is there, then what will happen, that slope will easily make the soil eroded. As if wind is there, that wind will blow and that wind will erode the soil. If rainfall is there, then that rainfall can easily flow away the soil. So slope of land is also a factor behind the weathering and erosion. Many landforms are created through the process of weathering, erosion and deposition. So there are 3 main processes. First is weathering, second erosion, and third is deposition. So many landforms are there which are created on the basis of this all 3 processes. We are having 2 examples here. First is Aravalli Hills, that were earlier they were mountains and they have been reduced to their present height by weathering and erosion. Second example we are having, that is northern plains of India. They are mostly the work of deposition of slid by rivers. Mean they have been eroded because of weathering, they have been eroded, and after erosion they have been deposited at one place. And which kind of deposition is there? Deposition of silt by river. Now what is the meaning of silt here? That is very fine sand. Now can you infer where all this silt came from? Yes, silt is created when rock is eroded or worn away by water or ice. As flowing water transports tiny rock pieces and scrap against the sides and bottom of the stream beds, chipping away more rock. The particles grind against each other, becoming smaller and smaller until they become to silt size. Agents of denudation. Now, what is the meaning of denudation? Denudation is the combined process of weathering and erosion. Any natural force that is capable of transporting and depositing weathered rock material is called agent of denudation. Means and there are many natural forces which are there on the earth's surface, that is running water or river, then we are having winds, we are having that waves. So all these forces which are capable or able for to transport particular raw materials from one place to another place, and after transporting they are able to deposit at one place. So all that natural forces which are fully capable of these two processes, transporting and depositing, they are called agent of denudation. The most active agents of denudation are running water or rivers, second winds, third glaciers, fourth waves, fifth underground water. First we will understand action of rivers. The place from a river originates is called its source. Most rivers have their sources in hilly areas from where water rushes down with great force, carrying the disintegrated rock material with it. Now, many rivers, they are having their source in hilly areas, and as hilly area they are in upside and in a vertical manner that rivers will be flown, so that water directly rushes down with a very great force, and they are carrying disintegrated material also. After that, they are transporting that rock material from one place to another place, they are capable of transportation. Then second point we will see deposition. So a river that carries it performs the action of three actions they perform. First is transportation, second is erosion, third is deposition. So transportation we have seen, as that rivers, they are carrying rock materials along with them. Second is erosion, that after as that river is running, erosion is there. Deposition means to deposit that rock material at one place. Now this sediments, they are depending upon four factors. First is depending upon the velocity of water. Velocity means speed, means what is the speed of that river or water. Second is volume of water. Volume means the amount or space that something take place. Third is nature of rocks. As you all have got to know that there are three kinds of or three natures of rocks: igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and sedimentary rocks. Then fourth is the load of rock, that is called sediment. Every river, they are carrying their sediments. Now that eroded material that the water carries is known as load. Now here having the rate of erosion, that is the highest in the upper course of the river. Landforms such as canyons, gorges, waterfalls, rapids, and V-shaped valleys are made in the upper course of a river. Now here one question arises, that can you tell why this action is highest in the upper course of a river and not in the lower course? Yes, because of the potential energy. Now because of the result of potential energy and the need for the river to cut down and balance its energy, the river erodes. It erodes in the upper course more than the middle or the lower course. One diagram is here, that is features made by a river in a flood plain. We are having flood plains diagram here, leaves, meanders and oxbow lake. These all terms I will define here. They all are coming under middle course. In the middle course, the velocity means speed. The speed of or the velocity of the water is less. The river can no longer transport its load. The silt begins to settle to the river bed or is deposited on the river banks. Now what happened, as we have seen in upper course, that rate of erosion is highest. Why? Because from that upper course river and that water that is flowing in a very good speed or good velocity. But in the middle course the velocity or the speed of water is less, and because of that they are not able to transport its load, and the silt which the rivers are carrying, it begins to settle to the river bed there only, and they deposited on the river banks. We are having meander here, that is large beds and loops, then oxbow lakes, that is cut off loops forming lakes, and alluvial cones, that is cone shaped deposits. They all are found in this part of the river. Now in this course many streams join the main river and increase its volume of water. Streams mean that small rivers, they are joining main river, and because of that speed and the volume of water will be increased. Now the small rivers which join the main river, they are called tributaries. Again we are having one question here. Can you name the distributaries of the Ganga, Indus and Brahmaputra rivers? Yes. So Ganga tributaries we are having, that is Gomti, Kosi, Ghagra and Yamuna. Indus rivers tributaries we are having Son, Jhelum, Chenab, Sutlej. Then Brahmaputra tributaries we are having Tista, Manas and Dhanusri. Now in the lower course, that is different from the course of upper course and middle course. Now in the lower course, as in the case of the Ganga and Brahmaputra in West Bengal, the flow of water is sluggish or slow. Sluggish means very slow than the normal speed. So in that upper course the speed was very high, in middle course that speed was quite low or slow, but in lower course the speed is very slow. During flood, when rivers overrun their bank, the silt gets deposited wherever the flow abates. Abates means become less strong, creating fertile land over a wide are called a flood plain. So as speed is very less here, so what will happen, that still silt that will be started deposited anywhere wherever that flow of river becomes slow or becomes very less, and that still they also get deposited there only, and that is creating that particular land fertile